So to start off, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, well, my name is Desiree Crawford, and I'm a leadership coach. So I help leaders and managers to become more effective in their leadership skills. In things like I'm more about the people side of things, like really about emotional intelligence and communication and how to resolve conflicts, and yeah, how to get over overcome challenging situations. And yeah, so that's what I'm really helping people with one-on-one coaching, but I also run workshops. Well, at the moment, not so much. I can run workshops online, but I haven't in this season just yet. But I do one-on-one coaching online, which is quite easy. So yeah.
I love it. It really is the right climate at the moment. It's just finding the right time to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
How did you find yourself wanting to coach leaders in the first place?
Well, I've always been in leadership myself in some capacity, and I've always been passionate about people and leading people and doing it effectively and and also treat people well. Like I've always seen this balance between warmth and strength, like being firm and being task focused, but also being people focused, and like that balance. And I've learned a lot about that myself. And what I've done is then I've been in management before I came to Australia. In Australia, I've been in retail management before, so area management, and I've been in quite high capacity of leadership there. And when I came to Australia, I did some personal development first. I was just trying to find what do I actually want to do. And I was at a leadership college here in Australia at the time, and realized actually I want to go deeper in leadership. So I've done my master's in leadership, and really the option was, will I go back in management or do I start my own business? And I just felt like starting my own business and helping people one-to-one. And yeah, so that's pretty much how it came to it in a very short sentence.
Do you remember your first job in leadership, like just in any job capacity? Do you remember what it was like being a leader?
Oh yeah, well, in a job itself, when was the first time I was in a job? Like I did leadership in a not a job setting, but in a choir setting, where I was in charge of a choir for a while, or even in part of the leadership team for a while. That was as a teenager and stuff. And and I remember actually the first conversation. I was really young. I was like 11 or 12. And the first conversations I had with my leader back then was about me holding hands with another boy, with a boy. And he was saying, look, you're in leadership now, like 12 or something.
I love how that's how they open us. You're in leadership now.
And you've got to think of the others, how they see you and how they, how you portray yourself. And I'm like, okay, people watch me now because I'm a leader. And that was quite like an eye-opening situation for me as a young girl. And but I've been loving it, And I guess the first real leadership position that I had in business was running running a restaurant, in a sense, like the service in the restaurant, and then later on in the stores that I later on was managing. But yeah, it's just there was a lot. I've learned so much. Oh dear.
And it's such a valuable lesson in that too, that it's quite empathetic when people are coming to you with situations, I imagine, and how do you do this and how do you do that? You've obviously used your experience to shape that as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. All the time I come up, when I have conversations with my clients, I usually have some sort of experience in some situation, not all, I'm nowhere near a long life experience, but I guess I would have 20 years of experience now. I'm 35, so it's I do have something to tell. Yeah.
I love it. And what kinds of companies have you trained people up in leadership so far through Beyond Leadership Coaching? Or is it companies, or is it just individual people? What is sort of the clientele you have at the moment?
It's both mostly companies or businesses that have staff. So they have a team to manage or people to lead. And I've had one of my first clients was like a research company, and I've had a team of 15 casual staff, and they like actually the owner of the company hired me to do a team workshop, like to improve team communication. So I did that with them, but they also asked me to have one-on-one coaching sessions with the manager. So the owner wasn't actually really managing the team. He had a manager in place, and I was coaching that manager because that situation was quite interesting as well, because she has been part of the team before, and then she was promoted to be a manager, and that can be quite interesting, that transition. Another one that I've had is an accounting firm that is that just hired a new business manager, manager who's running the team, not the owner, or like not the managing partners as well. So yeah, so it's quite a variety. I've had like people from hospitality approach me as well to, like, I'm quite passionate about small to medium-sized businesses, the ones that wouldn't necessarily have executive coaching or like, corporate kind of coaching trainings or whatever, but like really the ones that, that just like need the person that can come alongside and sort of mentor them, but really coach them to achieve what they want to achieve. So, yeah.
So, because I come from like a different line of field, like teachers and stuff, I guess like would just asking, I guess maybe someone out there is listening and asking the same thing. Is there any particular field that should be approaching you, or is it pretty open to anyone that is in leadership and can have that one-on-one coaching? Or
it's pretty much like I'm pretty much open to anyone, and like I always have a first initial conversation to see if we're a fit, because it's always about the person, what they want, like even do they like me. It's part of it. Like unfortunately not everyone's gonna like me, and not everyone is gonna, and I'm not gonna necessarily be able to help everyone, obviously, because they might have challenges that I'm not qualified to help with or to coach in. So it really depends on who it is and what they want. And I guess like I've had a few inquiries of people that like I can't relate to what they're actually doing. Like they've what was it, like engineering and like very different organizational structures and everything. So I was still open to, like to see how we go and if I can help that person, but it wasn't really a fit. Like you could tell it wasn't a fit, and I'm happy to say no if it's not going to work out, because I want to help. So if I can't help, then I'm like, well, I'd rather help them find someone else.
And that's a great aspect of your character and quality too, that you're quite open and willing to talk it out as much as possible with the client. And I think that's the integrity involved with that I would value if I was going to approach you as well. So I think that's a credit to you and your services. So you should be congratulated. I think that's really a really great quality. What do you feel are some of the values and benefits behind coaching and upskilling people in the leadership roles? What are some of the values and benefits there?
Well, it's really like so much about what people want to achieve, right? For themselves, but also for their team. How effective do they want to be with their people, with their team? How do they, like how you can improve performance by even looking at your leadership style. I've done a leadership assessment. I've recently developed my own leadership assessment, leadership styles assessment, where leaders can find their own style, like their default style, but also they can actually add a whole palette of other tools, of other leadership styles to then apply in the situations or in the, with the team they find themselves in. And that's in COVID-19 right now, in these days, there are certain leadership styles that like are really important to apply, but then also it's always going to be important to have a mix of different leadership styles. And so, yeah, that's definitely something that you can achieve and you can learn, and even like the emotional intelligence, right? So being more self-aware of your own emotions and the emotions of others, like that's a real skill to be able to learn. And that's some of the things that people underestimate. They think, oh, like that's just the way I am, or even leadership styles, oh, that's just my style. It's like, no, you actually can learn and you can develop your skills as well. So yeah, that's definitely so much value in that, and also like for their own, as I said, like effectiveness, but also for their own like success or personal, like, you know, like what they want to get out of life, you know, like, because I've actually heard one of my clients say as well, the coaching that we've done, especially about communication, has been really beneficial for her marriage as well, right? And I'm like, awesome. Like, if I can help leaders be better people, you know, or like have skills to achieve the things that I want to achieve, both in life, in like in marriage, in their business, in their, like, you know, in their friendships, relationships, whatever it is, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing self-care too. Like, and I guess we'll touch on that a little bit later, but that's something I wouldn't have thought of. So I love getting excited about that. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So for our leaders in our workplaces, do you have any advice how we can better support them as leaders if we're under their leadership?
So you're saying how you can support your leaders?
Yeah, just as a general.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, leading up really is a real skill as well. To be like a really supportive person. It starts with a mindset. It starts with like, what do you think about yourself as a leader, and without the title? But it also starts with the mindset around that person, right? What do you think of that person? Do you respect that person? Do you admire that person? Do you see the strengths and the weaknesses in that person? And how can you accompany them? How can you help them to become the better selves, right? And it's a really like approach, like, that is not about yourself. It's all about helping that person, that leader, to achieve what they want to achieve, right? That means to like be really good in communication with them, right? Being open, asking questions, and being listening when they speak, etc. So there's a lot we can do in order to support our people, and also always think, like, for example, before you come to them with a problem, always come with a solution. Like, always come with something, or always be initiative as well, show initiative, where you can come up with solutions or come up with ideas how to improve things that might make their life better, right? So I do that all the time with one of my bosses that I work casually right now as well, is that I'm trying to help him to achieve what he wants to achieve, but without giving him more work necessarily, but also making processes and systems easier for him to, like, sometimes to without me doing anything, but he can like do it themselves, even though that sounds like I would be delegating up. But anyway, so sorry if that doesn't make sense right now, but yeah, there's a lot we can do, and I think it definitely starts with a mindset, and with an approach of, okay, like, do I want that person's position, or I'm happy right now where I'm at, and can I just support them? Can I just give my best and show integrity? What you just touched on as well. So it's, yeah.
I appreciate that. And now I can go safely back to my workplace and have that now in the back of my mind, how I can better support my superiors and leaders and assistant principals, everyone in my workplace. There's a lot of people in leadership, and I think personally speaking, I'm always wanting to encourage and support the best way. So that's so awesome. Good. That's awesome advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's such a good point as well. Sorry if I can touch on that as well. Like, encourage leaders. And like, we often expect them to give us feedback. If we've done something well, we want to hear about it. Well, how about you tell your leader what you think, what they're doing well? And it can feel a bit like, oh, but who am I? Sometimes, but it's like, no, they're just people. They need encouragement. They need support as well. And so that's really good what you just said as well.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully we all can take something away from that now. One last question before we go into a bit of a self-care talk. Are there sometimes common mistakes leaders can make that may benefit them by being involved in your programs? Like, if we're sitting here now thinking about, we might want to engage you for further services or stuff like that, Is there something we can think about that might be common mistakes before we go, well, maybe we should?
Yeah, well, like the three common challenges that I see with leaders that I have with, well, in this sphere that I'm dealing with, it's basically emotional intelligence, communication skills, and conflict management. So any challenges that people have in those areas are definitely, that is definitely something I can help with to improve. The other thing that I would say right now, especially in this season that we're in right now, is I've been looking a lot, and I'm probably going to be writing about it as well. I've been researching it a bit. It's all about adaptive leadership, and so adaptive leadership is like, obviously, you know, like where we adapt our leadership to the circumstance where we're in right now. So that's a big deal right now, right? The thing that the concept is saying, though, as well, it's actually how important it is to analyze and to diagnose what do we actually need to change right now before we jump into acting, and before we jump into what we actually got to do, right? So that's one of the things that I do with my clients as well, that they come to with questions and say, I've got these situations and I've been thinking about this and this and this, and how should I do it? And then I won't tell them what to do. Like, you know, that's not my job as a coach. But I'll analyze with them. I'll help them to find, okay, what is the best way with the circumstances, with the resources that you've got right now? What is the best way you can do right now? And that's like the analysis, diagnosis, because I can't help them outworking those things. I can't help them doing them. That's like not my job as a coach. I can't do things, like I'm not doing things for them. As much as I sometimes love to jump in and just take over and lead people, but that's not my role as a coach. So I'm helping people to diagnose and to figure out, okay, what do I want to do? And then I help them to achieve that. Like, I obviously keep people accountable, you know, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can help with.
Cool.